Hello and welcome to Affinity. I was asked recently about how we can take a picture and do like a neutral density gradient filter over the sky, because skies are usually brighter than the land, and taking photographs you can use a filter on your camera, but the problem is the horizon is seldom straight, so you've got to, how do I handle that? So here's some not so good ways, some good ways and other ways of doing this. So the simplest way, if you like, is to take a brush and play around with these things, get to the sort of a low opacity, sort of 20%ish. Make sure it's black and just kind of a very soft, so hardness all the way down. Just paint over the sky like that. Maybe make it a little bit darker at the top, but that just doesn't look good, does it? It looks just like it's sort of dark. And also, because you're painting on the picture, it's destructive, which means you can't change it without undoing everything. So probably not the best way to do this. So let's go back to the beginning of this and start again. And another way of doing it is add a pixel layer. Now when I've got another pixel layer, now I'm drawing on this, not on the underlying picture. I could do the same stuff painting in here. And now I could change the blend mode here and go down to overlay, and it's where this works to darken it quite well, and I can get that effect there, and that's not bad, it's better. But if I alt click on this to see this layer, you can see it's pretty inconsistent, it's blotchy. So let's get rid of that. And another way is you could take a whole layer, let's put in another layer like this, and do a flood fill on that. Let's make it in black. Or you could use a fill layer, same effect. Change the opacity of that. So I change the blend mode to overlay. So now we've got the darkened sky, but I want to get rid of this down here. I could kind of paint away, I could use the erase brush and so on, but again you'd have difficulty going along the edge. I could also put a filter on it, so let's try that and go to the gradient tool. I drag down on that and I want to adjust this so at the top it's black and at the bottom it's transparent. And this isn't bad, but again I've got the effect now that the darkening effect stretches down into the land, and I only want to darken the sky. So what I could do with that is I could set up a mask. So I click on the selection tool here, make sure that snap to edges is selected, and I undo that. I need to select the background layer first. There we go. Then I can go along here and there it is selected. That I can hit refine to tidy it up, and any bits which it hasn't caught I can paint over and apply that. So now I've got a selection. If I turn the selection into a mask, I click the mask layer. That's on the wrong bit down here. I need to put it onto the top layer. And now this has worked. Now I've got something that's useful, because I've handled the horizon problem and I've got it on a separate layer. The only problem is if I wanted to change that gradient, if I click on this again, if I go on the gradient tool, my gradient isn't there. I'd have to start again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that mask, put it at the bottom just out the way for the moment, get rid of the pixel layer and use a rectangle tool. Now I can put a rectangle over the whole picture, change it to black. Where's the fill color? There we go, black. And now I can do the same thing here with a gradient. I can drag a gradient down it. Let's put it in overlay mode so we can see what we're doing. And this is going from black here to, let's make that transparent down there, so we're doing a nice gradient down. But again, we got the darkening of the land effect, so we just put back the mask, back up there. And so now if I alt click on that, you can see what it is. See, the mask has removed that bottom layer, and this is the darkening, but it's coped with the horizon. So now I got this effect. So this is actually a good way of doing it, and I often do it in this way, where I use a rectangle, because I can go back later on. I could have done other things. I can go back and I can always got the click on this layer, click on the gradient tool, and there it is. It's still there. One more thing to do is take the mask out the way. This is another quickie you can do. If I hit Ctrl J, I duplicate the layer, and I now put a blend mode here of multiply, and this naturally darkens the sky but uses the natural gradient within the sky. But I've darkened the land here as well, so I just put the mask back up there, and now I've got this natural gradient again. If it's not enough, I could hit Ctrl J and it'll do it even more. That's looking a bit too much, isn't it? So I just control with opacity to whatever level that I like. So there we go. A number of ways of doing it. Bad, good, and different, maybe better. Thank you very much for watching.